this that we're talking about, what does it look like if instead of leaving 2022 and just running out of the room, before you turn the light off on 2022, and yes, it's January, but that doesn't mean you can't do this. What if you take another glance around that room to make sure that you didn't leave something there that you need? Or maybe you're holding a piece of baggage in your hand as you walk out the door that you need to leave in that room.
Right.
And maybe that's part of that, of bridging that gap is what am I taking that I don't need to take into 23? And what am I leaving on the floor back there that God's like, you're not finished with that yet. Right. That needs to go into the next room with you. So.
Well, welcome to Pillow Talk. I'm Grant. This is my wife, Stephanie. And after almost 38 years of marriage, we've discovered how to communicate for better understanding and yoke our differences to pull stronger toward a common purpose.
As certified marriage coaches, we want to help reignite passion and connectedness in your marriage through intimate, authentic, and unguarded conversations. Now let's have some pillow talk.
Let's do it. Happy New Year
to you.
2023.
2023.
And I think an interesting 2022. But I'm looking forward to 2023. The podcasts was one of our favorite things we started in 2022, so that's good to look back on. We've talked about the importance of looking back to see what you've done, what got you here, but to be purpose focused and be
absolutely
looking forward.
Yeah, I don't think reflection isn't the same thing as being problem focused.
Right.
Reflection is just a great thing to do anytime you have a chunk of time, and it doesn't have to be annually. It could be every 6 months.
Right.
To go back and actually get an idea of what I thought I was going to do working the same way, or am I off track? And reflecting together is going to help us. This is what we do. Help us bring clarity for the new year.
Right.
I feel like there's already been a few things that we talked about at the end in December, and then this week, we've had some opportunities be presented to us that were in line with that. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it really has. We've always talked about one of our favorite things is, or not favorite things, one of the things we need to do the most is increase the people or the level of people of our connections. And I feel like we've definitely made major strides in that area. We've got some more things coming up in the future that we're looking forward to. So we will reveal those as they come to pass.
So let's talk about 2022, year in review. I know we say that a lot. I know January is a season of people, rightly so, thinking I'm going to start this year off great. I'm going to do things different, but you can't do things different if you don't understand why it didn't work in the past.
Right.
So you do have to look back, get some perspective, and reflect so that you can have clarity for what you need to do moving forward. That's insanity. You can't just do the same thing. Yeah, you can't just say at the first of the year, okay, this year I'm going to lose weight and go to the gym. Well, you have to understand what kept you from doing that last year. What is your purpose for that? You tell me a really funny joke about from Larry the Cable Guy about the gym.
That
was so funny.
It was funny. He said that he's going to have a gym. I forgot what he said he was going to call it exactly, though. Something like the 2-month gym. And it's going to be January through February. And that's the way and then it's going to go out of business. And that's why you can say, well, I didn't fail, but my gym went out of business. Yeah, it closed. So
I was going to work out, but my gym closed February 15th. Exactly. So, and that's kind of how we do things. We always want to assign blame to somebody else. Yeah.
One of the reason I'm wearing my work hat today is because you got to realize in the past, everything you did in the past got you here. It's going to take more work to get you to the next level.
Everything worth doing is uphill.
Everything. Yeah, I love that quote.
John Maxwell.
It's one of the best. So there's things you got to look back on. You got to find out where you struggled. You got to find out, what are some of the outcomes, and talk about that together. Spend some time just saying, are we on track? If you're on track and you're putting forth all your effort, but you ain't ran the gamut, then maybe you don't have to work harder. You just got to continue working.
Got to move forward. Yeah. And I think that's the thing too. I often have in my brain that, December 31st and then January 1st, like there's massive Grand Canyon and I have to span that. And it's like, there's a lot of things, as I've been journaling over the year and doing my own reflection that I've noticed it's a carryover. It's one of the things I do at the end of December is personally, for my personal growth plan, is what am I going to carry over from 2022 into 2023? It's not a one and done and check off. Okay, thank God 2022 is over. I don't have to do that anymore. It's like, no, what am I carrying over? Whether it's something that I need to continue to work on, or whether it's something that I found is helping me focus in my lane that I need to do more of. Manage against.
Right.
I need to carry those over.
So basically your reflection is starting to bring a clarity to what you want to do moving forward.
Absolutely. Course correcting is part of that perspective too, right?
Mm-hmm. And, part of it is also starting asking yourself, am I satisfied?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's real easy to watch someone else's life. And if you don't feel yours is measuring up, then you're not satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
When honestly, if you're satisfied where you are, stay there. I mean, why not? If that's where you want to be. Me, I'm never satisfied looking back. I always think like I left something on the table I didn't do. But I've also got to be careful that I don't look at other highly successful people and think because I'm not at their level, I failed at the last year.
Right.
And so I can say that I can be content, but I do struggle being satisfied.
Yeah. I think one thing you just said there is a great picture. A lot of times you think about when you're in a room that's full of things and it's been very energetic and very full of stuff, right? A literal room. And you'll walk out of that room and turn off the light and you don't think anything of it. But I think if you put that mind frame, there's a new word, mind frame, into this that we're talking about, what does it look like if instead of leaving 2022 and just running out of the room, before you turn the light off on 2022, and yes, it's January, but that doesn't mean you can't do this. What if you take another glance around that room to make sure that you didn't leave something there that you need? Or maybe you're holding a piece of baggage in your hand as you walk out the door that you need to leave in that room.
Right.
And maybe that's part of that, of bridging that gap is what am I taking that I don't need to take into 23? And what am I leaving on the floor back there that God's like, you're not finished with that yet. Right. That needs to go into the next room with you. So.
Yeah. And, a lot of times we get scared moving forward because looking back, we feel like we didn't accomplish something. But we really need to concentrate on just the next step.
Yeah.
You don't get the light to see around the corner. You get the light to see your next step. And then when that footstep goes down, it opens multiple lights. Usually you got choices to return. You got choices to make it, slight variance or to, continue to move ahead. John Maxwell talked about the law of navigation and you got to know the way before you can go the way. But that doesn't mean you know the end.
Yeah.
And I think that can be confusing to some people.
I think knowing the way doesn't mean that you know every single curve and turn of that road. I think it's like, I know the way to get to Denver, Colorado to visit our friends. But the first few times I don't, and even to this day, I don't know every single obstacle that's going to be in the way. Yeah. I know the way. I don't know the exact path. I know what that path. Sometimes you have to take a detour. You have to course correct. I love that. The course correction is to course correct doesn't mean that you're stopping something and failing. It means, oops, there's something I wasn't anticipating, or here's something that life has thrown. I just course correct to go around it, over it, or through it. I make that decision because I know the way is beyond that. And I know that it looks that way. And I just have to course correct, re-navigate, recalculate.
There's a lot of times people even get to thinking because they've made effort after effort after effort, and they haven't gotten where they want to be, or they don't even feel like they're on the right track. They, especially as Christians, they'll read that scripture that talks about that you're predestined.
Yeah.
And predestined doesn't mean that God said you're going to be here. He's saying, this is where I would like you to be.
I predestined your purpose to bring you to this point in humanity.
Your destination. If you go, like you were talking about, we're going to go to Denver and we go out and we get on the road heading to Fayetteville, Arkansas. We can drive forever. And no matter if we predestined to go to Denver or not, we'll never get there.
Right.
So, it becomes.
You need clarity on the direction.
You got to have clarity on your direction.
Right.
But, another thing that we need to do moving into this next year is to dream better, dream bigger and better. And, some people I think struggle just even with dreaming.
Well, I think because we've had podcasts on it before too, right? I think people don't really understand that dreaming isn't about something ungodly. It's about, what do you think about when you're in your space that excites you? I mean, it's like, it's okay. And it could be miles down. That way could be 10 hours away as far as a drive, right? But it doesn't mean having a dream is what inspires you and empowers you to move forward and have some focus.
Right.
We talked just a minute ago about in our own ministry and season that's coming up, we have dreams and we talk about those dreams. And then the minute something comes up that reflects that dream, it's exciting for us. It's empowering, and we may feel like we're going in a circle, then all of a sudden God brings something in front of us. It's like, oh, hey, there's a direction that actually gets us closer to where we want to go. And it may be 4 or 5 of those in a kind of a weaving pattern, but all of a sudden we're farther down the road and closer to our goal and our dream. But if we don't dream about that, we don't recognize what that picture looks like.
Yeah.
Dreaming gives you a picture of where you're going.
Right. And I like what you said about that, because it made me think of so many times we think of where we're going as a straight road. And it's more of a country gravel road.
Yeah.
You're
going
to have a few bumps, a few, a few cut tires along the way, and a whole lot of corners.
And a lot of mud.
And a lot of mud. So it's, but that's the dream is what makes all that worthwhile.
It's also the most scenic.
Exactly. It's good. So you get to see more things. It takes you a little longer, but think of all the knowledge and stuff that you acquire,
and the people that you meet.
It's the people.
It's the whole Route 66 thing, right? Why are people so enthused with that? It's not because that it's all this major stuff. It's because it represented what our country used to be in terms of small communities connecting and welcoming people, even though they didn't live there.
Right.
And I think that's what your dream will do for you. It will connect you with people along the way, and it will help you to embrace and to help and to empower people that you don't know as you go along your way. And it doesn't mean you're staying with those people all the time. It just means that it connects you and gives you an opportunity to be in that pathway. If you're on the fast highway and you're going so fast that people are not your destination, the destination is your project and it's not the people. And I think the Route 66 way is where what God really has an intent for. He wants us to connect with people and impact people. And so,
they call it destination disease that people get, they're too concerned with the destination, not the journey.
And that's somebody in my personality I am super disciplined, and I'm very project oriented. So sometimes you have to help me say, hey, Steph, no, let's look at the people here. Let's slow down.
Isn't it amazing too that you start this off with the question usually of what do you want? But you spend most of your time thinking, I didn't want that. Which
so good.
That really helps you kind of weigh out that do I really want this? Because just because you don't want a lot of the roads you got to go down, if you want the end destination bad enough, those roads are okay. It's like, I don't like driving 12 hours. I love the mountains.
Yeah.
I drive it 2 or 3 times a year a lot of times, just because I like it.
Well, I love what you always encourage me in the business side of things is there's always things in our work and in our business and our ministry, whatever you want to talk about here, that we don't like to do, but ultimately, does it get us on that stage that we know we have impact on? That's what you have to look for. And that's the purpose focus. And that's why you have to have a dream. I may not like what I have to do today. I don't like having to set up our podcast. It takes forever. It's a lot of work, and it's not technical stuff is not my thing. Right. I love when we finally get to be in this space.
Right.
Okay. So we love that. So I hope that makes sense, but that's our dream. We look forward to doing the podcast. We just don't love some of the weekly journey getting to this 20-minute segment.
So as we start to wrap this up, I think as married couples, we need to not only dream individually, but but we also need to dream together. So it's bringing our dreams into the same room. This is what I'd like to do. This is what, and the other one's saying, okay, I can support you in that. Or have you thought about this? Let's see that here's some dreams I have. Do those dreams coincide at all? If they don't, they're probably not a God-given dream, because God's not going to give two totally
Two
separate,
totally separate things.
you know, and that don't mean you don't dream almost opposites, but those opposites come together to blend in to make
it's common ground.
to make the common ground journey.
Yeah.
But it's also that I think sometimes those opposites add not only fuel, but it also adds the support structure needed.
Absolutely. Got to have the contrast. It's in the contrast and the knots and the threads and the variance of color that the picture is vibrant and multidimensional. If you're exactly the same, you're just 1D.
Yeah.
We want to have a 3D marriage, and we want to have a 3D impact. And so for this year as a couple, it's sitting down and talking about perspective. It's reflecting so that we can gain clarity. And then with that clarity, we're going to be empowered and excited with the dreams and expansion of that dream as we move forward.
Yep. So we hope you had a good 2022. We hope that you have a great 2023. We hope that you continue to listen to the podcast and share it. We sure thank you for that. And Pillow Talk is about having conversations, and we're going to have a lot of conversations this year between me and Stephanie and our listeners. Please send us
you got some
questions or
hurdles,
statements. I mean, we like the statements as much as we do the questions, because I don't have to respond to a statement. I can just listen to it, hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. If you say, hey, this is an idea that we do as a married couple, yeah, we want that, because we want to empower this community, and that comes from multiple examples and multiple hacks, if you will. So that's huge. So we welcome your comments and your go-tos and your best practices on any of these things for sure. So
absolutely. So you can follow us on Instagram, Grant_Steph_Forever with Purpose. We're also on Facebook, Forever with Purpose. And we are on YouTube.
I don't know what that is.
We got the Pillow Talk group. So we got all kinds of things going on. We'll be sharing all this on Facebook and Twitter and everything, so you can find us. And
whatever your favorite social media platform is,
absolutely,
we will try to be
there in your way. So we appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next Pillow Talk.